Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 3 of the series where we model, rig, and animate legs. So, this is where we left off, and a couple things I wanted to point out from last time that's going to greatly improve the rigging of the legs real quick is just to make sure that the preserve volume is on, and you want to put your subsurf modifier after the armature, and that's going to really smooth out a lot of this knee stuff here that we were having in the early problems that we were having in the earlier video. So once we do that, everything looks great, and you can just see it looks well, awesome. Everything's working great. We have a lot of nice curves and things in the body that should be happening. So we are ready to get animating. There is a lot that's going to happen in this tutorial. So we're going to be animating the legs, as well as adding materials, as well as animating the ground and some particle system settings, and various things like that. So what I should have done at the beginning of everything is turn on our units. I'm going to turn it to metric. And I'm going to put everything to scale. So our dimensions, this is 7 meters, which is really high. I think people are typically like 3 meters. I need to make everything that though. Does that work? No. I'll just scale it down. Okay. About there. Whatever. Yeah, that's about good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a ground. So I'm just going to add in a plane, scale it 8 times so it matches the grid, and I'm going to give it a texture. I already have. Actually, I don't. So you can see my channels up there. What I'm going to do. Here we go. So on cgtextures.com, I found this soil texture. I will provide this in the description as well, or the link to this in the description. So this is the seamless one. You can choose either one. I honestly kind of liked this one when I did it the first time, but I'm going to give the seamless one a try. So let's download it. And where did it go? There it is. Okay, I'm going to put that on my desktop. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to unwrap this. And it's going to we're going to go into the top view, and we're going to project it from view bounds. It's important that we do that because we're going to be switching planes when he hits the ground to make cracks and stuff. And so we want the UV wrapping to be the same on both the planes. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to put my timeline here, and this is going to be my graph editor. So what I want him to do is I want him to come down like this, hit the ground in kind of a squatting position. Sort of. Come on, get that. He's going to land something like that, and he's going to stand up, and we're going to pan up and see him as he comes up. Okay. So we're just going to first get his starting pose, and actually first I'm going to make sure that these right here are horizontal to each other. So this is, I'm just going to make this 6. What? Okay, what is it, 0.6? I just want to make sure they're both at the same level. Okay, and that'll work. So what we're going to do is on our first keyframe, we're going to turn on auto record, grab it, and just press it, and you can see that we have made a keyframe. And now we're going to jump forward, maybe not very many frames. This is going to happen pretty fast. So I'm going to go about 5 frames. And at this point, he should come and hit the ground. maybe to about there, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate. It's going to kind of land something like that. I want him to kind of land on the tips of his toes. So I'm going to put his toes up a little bit like that. Good. And then he's going to go down slower. Okay, so I'm going to bring my timeline down or up. I'm going to give him about 25 frames, so about a second. That doesn't seem like very much. I'm going to go up to 40, and we're going to give him time to now go down a little bit further. Like that. And then he's going to stand up. Back to that position. Cool. So we can see how it just looks after just making it. That's not bad. I do want the standing up to be slower though. So he lands, he hits the ground, he stands up because we want a nice dramatic feel to it, you know. Perfect. Okay, so since the end of him standing up is on 120, I'm going to put my end to 120. Also, as he's standing up, so once he's down, so I want him to come down, hit the ground, and then I want his feet to rotate kind of down normal, so his heels are on the ground. Good, and that's kind of a dramatic. It's kind of a dramatic landing, and then a yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, cool. One thing I want to do is just change the polar rotation on this so it's makes a little more sense. It was kind of skewed before. I'm not sure why. Okay, so he lands. He stands up. Actually, hold on here. I don't want him to be stood up all the way. Just kind of like to there. Sweet. Okay, let's position, let's go out of orthographic view, and let's position the camera pretty close to him. Somewhere about there. Oh, I have recording on. I'm just going to delete those keyframes. Another thing is I want there to be a pause before he hits the ground. So I'm just going to take everything and move it over. I want there to be a couple seconds, so I'm going to have his drop start at about 40. No, maybe a little earlier. Let's go 20. See, that's good. That's nice. That's a nice pause. And he stands up. Cool. Okay, so let's animate the camera now. I'm going to have it. I'm going to turn on the auto key. Yeah. I'm just going to kind of have him almost look around, sort of. So I'm going to put a keyframe at the beginning. I'm going to put one kind of here at 20. Move it up maybe a little bit, and then Forgot to move it. And then at around 20 there, I want it to move and kind of look at him. Like that. And then once it hits the ground, the camera's going to do some crazy shaking. So there's going to be one there, or nope, the frame behind it, right there. And then the camera's going to move down here. And it's going to bounce up there. And then over there. It's doing some crazy shaking. And so at the beginning of our crazy shakes, we're going to have them be one frame apart, and we're going to slowly move 2 frames apart, 3 frames apart, to kind of show that he's kind of gaining control again, you know? Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's a little too crazy. Good, okay, that's a little better. So I'm also going to have it move. So at about here, I'm going to place my camera there, and then at about 85, I'm going to have it kind of move forward towards him. About there. And then as he's standing up, the camera is going to look up at him. There's an, as it starts to move forward, it starts to look up at him. And it's this kind of cool superhero moment, you know. So, okay. Some crazy camera shakes, and then it starts to raise up as he stands up. There's this kind of awkward pause right there where the camera is not doing anything. So I'm just going to kind of animate something. I don't like that. I'm going to do a rotation. Good, okay, I like that. And then we're going to end at around 160. Let's make it a nice, even, whole number. Okay, so we've got some general animation set into place. We got him following. We got the camera set up. And it's kind of dramatic. So let's start setting up some materials. I'm going to go to my guy here. We're going to give him 2 materials. I'm going to give him, oops, let's switch to cycles. I'm going to give him a red thing kind of like around his waist, you know, like Superman would wear or something. And I'm going to give him like a black, cool, kind of like chainmail almost. You spelled chainmail. Is it chainmail? I don't know, but that works. Okay, so this red, I set as red, and the black set to be black. Okay, so I want the top half of them here to kind of be more of the black, like that, and also oops, all of this right here is going to be black. Okay, so that's the red on him there. It looks kind of funny. Turn my CPU to GPU and change this to 256. I think that's just kind of the general rule now, is if you're using a GPU, put that at 256. Thanks to Andrew Price. He's got to yeah. He messes up a lot of those old things we do and gives us a lot of cool tricks. It's great. Watch his videos. They're awesome. Okay, so let's get into this. Now with the material with the world, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use an environment texture. I will provide this environment texture in the description as well. It looks great though. I'm going to use this one right here. And if I hide the plane, you can see that we have these grasses here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my plane, and I'm going to put grass on the back of the plane so it blends in with this HDRI and ends up looking like it's all one. Okay, so I'm going to unhide the plane, and we're going to start giving this a material. Weird. Okay, I'm going to call this ground. So I'm going to give it a texture, and I put that one I downloaded on my desktop here. You get to see all my icons. There we go. Great. Plugged into the diffuse, and it is way too big, so I'm going to do an input texture coordinates and vector mapping. I'm just going to turn the scale up. Something like that. Maybe I'll go with 3. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks really good. Awesome. I'm going to give it a mix shader, mix it with a glossy, and plug the color into the glossy as well. Okay. Sweet. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to tab into edit mode on the plane and actually extrude it down. I want to give this plane depth. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. We're going to make the cracked ground now. I'm going to copy it, move it to the second layer. Okay, I'm going to go into top mode, see where my guy is going to land. Okay, so there and there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw circles like this. I should be drawing on my plane like that. I'm going to hold D. Hold D is how you draw with the grease pencil, right? Circles around his feet. Like this. And this is how Blender is going to know where to put the cracks. And I also just like to draw a line through each of them like that. It just kind of helps randomize the cracks. Okay, awesome. Somewhere around there. That looks decent. We'll go with that. So now we can go back to this layer, and if you don't have cell fracture enabled, what you can do is go enable it in your user preferences. You go to your add-ons and you go type in cell, and it's right there. Okay, so enable that and then come back, and then what you're going to do is hit spacebar, type in cell fracture selected mesh objects. Awesome. Now we're going to play with these settings a little bit. Instead of own particles, we're going to choose grease pencil because that's what we want it to use. Our source limit we're going to set to 300. We're going to turn our noise up, which is like the randomization of the cracks, up to about 0.15. We want it to be pretty random. The recursion, which is splitting the cracks that were cracked into smaller cracks, we're going to tell it to about 2 or 3, like that. Okay. The material's fine. Keep the material. I'm going to group all. I'm not actually going to group them. I think that's it. So let's just give it a go and see how it does. Wow. Okay, that failed. I'm going to go try it again. Okay, I'm going to remove that layer. I need to go make the grease pencil on the object there. Okay, so let's just add in the circles again. I'm just going to make them pretty general this time. And let's try that again. There we go. Now it works. Okay, so you want to, when you're doing your grease pencil, you want it to be found on your object, not your scene. All right, so now we have all these cracks you can see on the ground here. And what I want to do is I want to make this all one object. Okay, so I'm going to select everything, and then select another object and hit Control J to make it all one. There, now our mesh is cracked. And we're just going to do a little bit of cleanup. I'm going to go remove doubles. And that removed a bunch of doubles. And then I'm also going to go to the Shading UVs tab and recalculate normals. Awesome. Now when he lands, it's not just going to land and crack. It's going to land and there's going to be divots going down. It's going to obviously going to make an impact on the ground. So with proportional editing enabled, we're going to grab some of those spots like that and divot it down. Something like that. Then we're good. Now we're going to select everything, and we want to have some space in between these cracks. So I'm going to, for my median point, select individual origins. And then I'm going to go Scale, Shift, Z. I'm going to disable proportional editing. And you can see now we can get some cracks. You can actually start to see in the ground, like that. Let's see, I don't like this crack right here though. This is a little big. So I'm just going to select that crack. Those hit Control L and make that bigger so they're smaller. The cracks are smaller, I mean. Okay, cool. So I'm going to call this cracked ground. And we can delete this plane on the second layer. On the first layer here, this is going to be called ground. Sweet. So now we have ground and cracked ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my normal ground down. Oh, wait, my keying's still on. Okay, I'm going to move my ground down. And I'm going to take my cracked ground and move it up. Wow, okay, I was way off with those cracks. This is way out of scale. I should have used him as a reference when cracking it. What did I do? I made a mess. That's okay. He's going to make some pretty big divots. That works. He'll hit that and destroy it. Sweet. Okay, so we're going to move this ground up until his feet are touching the ground. That looks pretty close there. And we're going to make note of this ground's height. So in this case, it's 18.96. That's what we're going to set this one to. 18.96. This is 18. Okay, I hate these. Okay, just go to none. Okay, 0.189. 0.189. There. Now they're the same. That was way easier. Dang it. Okay, this was actually at 0.045. My origin was at the wrong point. So 0.045 should bring it. Okay, if everything else fails, just line it up by hand. There, easy enough. I should have just done that in the first place. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's animate this ground cracking now. This plane, my other plane, this plane here, my normal plane, is going to be active all the way until he lands. So right there, the frame before he lands, I'm going to find my ground and hit I over view and I over render. And then on the next frame, here he's going to, wait, does the ground move? I think that's my camera. Yes, okay, so then this one we're going to restrict renderability and view. So now that plane there goes away, you can see. Now this cracked ground is going to not be here on this frame. So we're going to remove the visibility on this frame, and then on this one, we're going to bring it back. Okay, so now it's like this. He comes down, he lands, and everything cracks. And it goes up into his awesome superhero pose. That's pretty sweet. Awesome. Okay, and now for my cracked ground here, I'm also going to give it the, for materials, the ground material, which it has. That's great. We can see how that looks. Okay, actually not too good. I'm going to kind of change. Okay, well that definitely looks more cracked. Sweet. Let's give our superhero guy some awesome materials now. So here he has his red here, which I'm going to make a mix between the diffuse and glossy. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, sweet. This is going to be like a bright red, and then this is going to be kind of a saturated red, and I want to make it pretty glossy. About there. Sweet. And now for his black chainmail, it's actually really easy. It's a mix between a diffuse and a glossy. And then I'm actually going to put in a texture coordinate and then a texture, and I'm going to use a checker texture. I'm going to plug the generated into there, and I'm going to add in a math node because this texture is going to be used to be plugged into the displacement. I'm going to set my scale to 300. My diffuse is going to be black, and the roughness is going to be at like 0.1, something pretty glossy. You can see that it looks like it's this cool black, shiny, tiley, like scaly stuff, which is it just looks really cool. And it works well when he bends. There's no UV unwrapping necessary. He is ready to go. So that looks pretty awesome. I'm still not too happy with the ground, honestly. I don't know what I want to do. I kind of want to almost redo it, but I know that'd be a lot of work. I'll just do it quick. Just don't mind me here, guys. Okay, I'm gonna do that one more time. Move my source limit to 600. I'm gonna double that. Put my noise to like 0.5 and increase my recursion a little bit, so we get some smaller pieces. Oh, that didn't work the way I wanted to either. Okay, I think I need to bring my recursion down. 1. Okay, I'm gonna put this at like 0.1. We'll try that instead. Yeah, I think that's gonna turn out better. Okay, good. I like that better. Awesome. Now we can delete that. And just quickly reanimate this. Right there. And then I'll just bring actually, okay, I'm going to show the ground too. And I'm going to just bring both of them down so we can see his feet. Okay, wait. Okay, I do want it to be a little bit of an implant, or maybe make an indent in the ground. Okay, so now you can't see anything, so we go back to the individual origins and scale it Shift Z. Actually, I'm just going to do that with these right here. Like that. And hit Control L. Okay, that was a little bit too much. Sorry if this is getting boring, guys. I'm trying to make a tutorial. It's you know, it's hard to go through every single thing I'm doing and try to explain it while yet focusing on what I'm doing and to do it well. You know, so I think that'll be fine. I don't see why it wouldn't. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this an array. I'm going to have it I'm going to have it just go out like that. And then I'm also going to have to give it one going that way. And I'm going to give it one more going the other direction. Cool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this modifier to both the plane and the ground. So Control L, I select the ground, Shift select that, no, ground, and then that, and then this, and then Control L, modifiers. Dang it, I was the wrong way around. Okay. Okay, good there. So now our ground is also out like that, and then it hits and it cracks. So now we're ready to add some grass. And I'm going to add the grass on this plane right here. Alright, so in this tab, I'm going to append some grass that I've made earlier. I have a video on how to make grass. I'm going to be using that exact same grass. Okay, so you can follow along there. There we go. Turn that off so we can't see it. And now here, I'm going to give it that particle system. And we need to turn on use modifier stack so it'll put it on the entire plane. Now we're not going to fill the entire thing with grass. We're just going to use a little bit, which we're going to set up here in the weight paint, or with the weight paint. Okay, so I really just want a little bit in the back. Oh, we need to apply the arrays actually. So apply the arrays and then give it, subdivide it a couple times like that. Okay. Now go back and weight paint. There's just so much to remember, you know. It's so hard. Tutorials are tough. Okay, something like that. And then turn the weight down and do something like that. And turn it down a little further and do something like that. If you want, you could put something there. Okay, good. Now go back to our particle settings. Go like that so you can see it. And I'm going to turn this down to like 5,000. We only need 5,000 of them. And we can see it. I'm going to set my display to 100. So my vertex groups to my group there. Turn up the size so we can actually see it. And it is screwed up. Haha. That's why. Okay, flip direction. Flip direction of the normals. That'll change the direction of the grass. So cool. Another thing we want to do is turn our length to the group as well. That way, the smaller ones are in the front and the less small ones are in the back. And you can see now that it's going to kind of blend in with that grass there pretty well, actually. We're going to change some stuff to make it render faster and have it blend in more. And I'm going to set this to volume to randomize it. Okay, cool. And also with the ground, another thing I forgot to do is I'm going to go vector, bump, and I'm going to just plug my color right in and plug that into the glossy and diffuse. Okay. I'm going to turn my scale up a little bit here so I can get a little better resolution. Actually, even more than that. Okay, something like that, I think. Now with the grass, I'm going to change, actually what we're going to do now with the grass is we're going to convert it to actual physical objects. Okay, now I'm going to change this material quite a bit because it's just in the background and maybe here, but we're going to have a depth of field, so you're not even going to be able to see this too well. I'm going to remove some things. I'm going to remove the translucency. I'm going to remove the diffuse and stuff like that. I'm going to put that at 0 and just put this at like 0.3, 0.35, 0.38, no, going down, 0.28, 0.29. I think with just a diffuse, it actually works just fine. So we're really dumbing this this grass shader down to basically nothing. So yeah, that looks okay. And once we now add an empty, a plane axis right there, and scale it up, and then we set our camera to look at that. We just go camera, and we go down here under focus. We choose empty, f-stop, number like 0.6. You can see that the background blurs then, and it blends in there even better. So cool, okay. I forgot to apply these arrays here. So I want everything over here. I think I locked it up. I was just trying to scale it along the Z axis to flatten it a little bit, but I don't even think it matters. So forget it, but that's fine. Yes, so he lands and he stands up and it's awesome. Cool, and I'm actually going to take this grass here, kind of make it a little more full right here, because I kind of like how that looks. Awesome, that's really cool. Now for the particles coming out of him like that, or the feet, when he lands, we're going to add a sphere, and we're going to delete most of the sphere, kind of like this. We're just going to leave one band of faces, just like that, and then we're going to kind of scale it down. Oops, turn on proportional editing. We're just going to scale it down like this, so they'll come out of the normal kind of upwards, like that. Okay. So put this in here by his feet, and you want to scale it way down like that. Okay, now we're going to make some dirt So I'm going to put the dirt. We can actually delete this stuff. I'm going to make the dirt on this layer here. How I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a sphere. And I'm going to go to Tools. And I'm going to go Randomize a bunch. And then Smooth. And then Randomize. And then Smooth. And then Randomize. And then Smooth. I end up just kind of getting a funky shape after a while that can be used as a piece of dirt. So yeah, you can like scale some of them along the Z axis if you want. And you can see we get some pretty interesting shapes. You can kind of come through here and change it even more if you'd like. Make some little tidbits and stuff, and just kind of have fun with it. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that works. Okay, and then we're going to give it the same material as the ground. So just choose ground on all of these. Cool, and we're going to group these, and we're going to call them pebbles. All right. Cool. There's a lot of grass though that's out here that we're not even going to see. I don't think we're ever going to see. Yeah, any of that stuff there. Or really any of this stuff over here. So I can just delete all that. Cool. Now I just select our little thing there. We're going to give it a new particle system. Call this dirt. And, oh wait, no, this is a material. Oops. Wow, I feel really dumb right now. Call that dirt. And we're going to give it, we're going to render it as a group pebbles. Just like that, okay? Now the emission is going to be when it first lands, when the guy first lands, and it's going to end the first frame that he lands. Okay, so it's going to start at 23 and end at 23. The lifetime is going to be like 500, something crazy, because he's never gonna. They should never go away. All right, cool. So they go sort of, and we need to bring the normal up a lot to like 17. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe like 6. Okay, we're going to give it a random size. And it should emit out of the volume and not an even distribution. It's just all in a straight line. Okay, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually just going to delete this and add a sphere. That way we'll just get that kind of crazy all over the placeness like we want. Okay. That might be a little much. Looks pretty good though. It's looking pretty good so far. It's looking pretty dramatic, that's for sure. I like that. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it now and bring it over here to this foot. Like that. And remember to turn off emitter right there. Let's make sure they look okay. Yep, we need to turn on rotation. And turn off random and check dynamic so they will react and turn to the environment around them. Okay, sweet. And then we're going to give our dirt plane here a collision, right? And we're going to dampen the particles and dampen the friction. And that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty sweet, guys. You can kind of see it's weird when you check dynamic rotation for the particles. They tend to move and do weird stuff when they're just laying still. It's really frustrating, and I think it's a bug. I'm not completely sure. Let's just see if it does it if we uncheck it. Yeah, they seem to be bouncing now. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna dampen it a little bit more. Give it some stickiness. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's a little too sticky. Let's try like 0.4. Alright, that's really awesome. I like how that looks, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my particles then, my emitter there, and I'm going to bake these physics. So right here, I'm going to bake all the dynamics. Awesome. So there we have it. It's looking good, and some of them I think do go through the mesh, but those are ones that have been shot downwards. I believe. Well, I think they're slipping through the holes maybe in the mesh. Yeah, you can play around with that a little bit more, but for sake of time, I'm going to call that fairly decent, and we have a really cool superhero landing animation here. So let's give it a render and see how it looks. Oh, another thing is to turn on motion blur right here. That's going to help a lot with the cool looks and effects. I don't want to get a really blurry shot. I want more of a still shot. Maybe something like that. The NVIDIA 1080 just came out. That's so exciting. It's actually affordable. I'm pumped. Wonder what that's going to mean for render times now. on Blender. Wonder how that's going to work. Probably pretty fast. Yep. Cool. So far, this is looking pretty good. You can see how the background really blends in with the grass there and ends up just looking like it's one thing. Again, I'll provide everything in the description for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for upcoming tutorials. This is the first 3-part series I've ever done. This has been a lot of recording in one day. So not every tutorial is as boring and lack of entertaining speech and jokes. So I apologize, and I'll get better as I go. But yeah. So if you ever have any free time and you're bored, researching photography is a great thing. It helps with Blender a lot. Composition, it's great. Got some books from the library. They're great for reading. Let's see. Hey there. Sweet. That looks pretty awesome. You got him. He looks like a superhero. So, let's go up to the compositor and just do some compositing. Control-Shift-Click for the viewer node. And all I really want to do, I think, is add in a color balance and a glare node. This one I'm going to change to fog glow and turn down the threshold. Another thing too is in my scene here, go to color management, and I'm going to choose film to kind of give it a more film look. Something like that. I'm actually going to give this a streak as well. Good there, so you can kind of see it protruding through and the color, what do they call that? Light, I don't know, this happens in cameras where there's something dark and there's something light and there's something dark in front of it. The light will kind of protrude into that subject, so this kind of helps add some awesome look to it. Cool. I actually like that just the way it is. Might give it some orange. Maybe a little bit of blue. It's already kind of blue though. I think that looks pretty good. Alright guys, I'm going to give this a render, and what you see on your screen now is the finished animation of what we just did. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe down below for more upcoming tutorials, and I will see you guys in the next video.